All right, we're here with Jesse Gale, who is the founder and CEO of Revive Executive Branding. How are you, Jesse?
I'm doing great.
You've had a little bit of experience with Silicon Slopes. Your lovely bride, Malia, was an intern.
Yeah.
She was amazing, did really cool work, and then you got roped into some like all-star weekend stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, always doing the little side jobs at the events. It was awesome though. It was fun. Great meeting people too.
Yeah, it is that. But onward and upward to better things. We'll go over everything that you guys do, but what enabled you to kind of hang your own shingle and start your own group and or company?
Yeah. Really, it was kind of a long process. I'll try to not lengthen this too much. But really, what happened is, I was a pre-med student, and I was set on going to medical school. Me and Malia had our whole 10 years, 15 years planned out. We knew everything that was going to happen. We knew how it was going to happen. We knew what states we wanted to go to. And then all of a sudden I was in Oklahoma with Malia and I got a call and my dad just died. He was totally healthy, 57 years old. We played volleyball twice a week, no signs, went to the doctor regularly. And it just totally flipped us upside down. It flipped our world upside down, kind of made us think of, what matters for us. And, it just was never on the radar for us. I knew he'd be there forever with me. And so me and Malia just sat there, and we tried thinking of, what do we do? And we just put our heads down and kept going on that path and nothing felt right, And so I was working the sales job that my dad was kind of coaching me with for a similar company of what do we do now? It was an executive branding firm. I really liked it there. But we just kind of got to this point where we didn't agree with what was being told at the company we were at. Nothing to say. I learned a lot from that company. It was great experience. But we just knew we could do it better and we could really help people. And so what kept going on in my mind was my dad always said, if you're going to sell something you're proud of. Sell something that you know is going to help people. And so we just kind of sat there and we were making good money. We were having a great time. We had unlimited vacation time, whatever we wanted. Yeah. And we're like, we got to quit, And so I quit my job, gave him, obviously a good advance notice. And then Malia comes back to me a week later saying she's pregnant. So we don't have a job. We don't have money. We got, we're scrambling. But then it just all felt right. And so we started this executive branding company and it's been a grind ever since. We've almost been doing it we're coming up on a year. Yeah. And it's been fun. It's been a good time. Me and Malia just kind of split the workload and we have a good time doing it.
I love it.
Yeah.
The world comes at you fast with baby and timing with jobs and stuff. So there's nothing for it other than put your head down.
Yeah.
And executive branding could be any number of things, but you guys have zeroed in on some stuff. So let's talk about what you guys do, what that ultimately means.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. So executive branding, how we kind of narrow that down, really three things. So we take care of the resume, the LinkedIn profile, everything that's on there, and then an executive biography, right? We see, the last stat that I saw was, less than 3% of companies ask for cover letters nowadays. Yeah. And so when they do ask for additional information when you're applying online, or maybe you're wanting to be seen, as an executive, but you don't want to come off needy, you don't want them to think, oh man, I just got laid off. Yeah. You send over a bio, right? Shows who you are, what you can do, but it's not, please help. This is exactly why I love you guys. Please take me on. Yeah. So we take care of those three documents. And then a lot of people also like to be seen as thought leaders. It's a really big thing right now. I know you and I were talking about it not too long ago. And so we also offer a subscription option as well, where, we post for executives, when they're a CMO, CTO, CIO, whatever they are, they usually don't have time to be posting on their LinkedIn all the time. Yeah. And so we take care of that for them as well.
Yeah. Well, they might have time, but then there's 1,000 other reasons why you might not do that, right?
Yeah.
You might not like it. You might not even have an account other than like LinkedIn to do it. Mm-hmm. You might feel uncomfortable for whatever reason, but you'd be comfortable with proofing and or like green lighting other people to do it, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of one of those things where it's easy to do somebody else's resume and it's easy to prop somebody else up.
Yeah.
But when it comes to you to do it, you're like, better not do that.
Yeah. Fresh pair of eyes is always nice.
Yeah.
And, it's, what we always say, I've got a buddy of mine when we would sell together, and we always talk about this, and it's, you can spend hours and hours working, but the last thing you want to do is finish an 80-hour work week and go home on the weekends and work on your resume or work on your LinkedIn. Nobody really wants to do it. They want to take a break.
Yeah.
And so our goal is to do all the heavy lifting so they can actually take a break, when they're traveling and doing everything else.
Yeah. Very nice service.
Yeah.
I've helped a lot of interns and junior staff with resumes. By no means an expert, but it was always there needs to be an action and a result, and it needs to, in a dry way, tell a story in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a lot of really bad resumes out there, but this was before AI and all the magic supercomputers. I still have seen a few resumes that were clearly done by AI, and they're a lot better than the first crack at it, but they seemed a little inauthentic. Do you guys leverage AI for helping with any of these services, or is it still human-based?
It's more human-based. We do leverage AI to speed it up. Honestly, just AI isn't to the point. I'm sure it will get there. I hope it gets there to save people time. But it's just not to the point where maybe coming out of college, fresh out of college, maybe you could just pop a resume in there and get a decent one and get you a job.
Yeah.
For the executive level, it really needs to be tailored in a certain way. So we actually have a format that's from certified resume writers. And, we've got writers on our team that just make sure that it's actually telling their story in the right way, and not just, because you can just list everything.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that, statistically where people look first, that's where, the headhunter is going to be reading that resume first off. We got things standing out. I just talked with an executive. I think he's a CTO. And he had this great resume, great experience, but everything's just black and white and nothing's bolded, nothing's standing out. And so I had to tell him, look, it's great content, but nobody's going to read it.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to take over 30 seconds to get to know you.
Yep.
So we focus on a career snapshot. We focus on an executive summary at the beginning. So people see, okay, this is what I need to see, and I can get into more details if I want. But most of the time, by the time they read for 30 seconds, they either know they want to talk to you or they don't.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty quick, and you've got to grab their attention for sure. And, in certain niche parts of business and or life, people that have gone through the same experience or have had same jobs at different locations, they speak a small different language, right? That others will immediately like, oh, they're saying all the right things.
Yeah.
They've done all the right things. And the best way to communicate that is having it look good and having it stand out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's actually, do you mind if I share a little story?
Go ahead.
We have an executive, he's a VP, wanted to get to the C-suite in his next role. He had a lot of time. He was, and in the exiting process of his company, he had over a year. Usually we say, hey, it's going to be, probably 6 months for you to find that ideal role. And we started working with him, and then he had, top headhunters, Heidrick and Struggles, Spencer Stewart, Korn Ferry, all reaching out to him. And he just landed a CMO role. It's been about a month working with him.
Yeah.
He's a CMO of a company, and these recruiters reached out to him. They're like, hey, usually we've got all these big things that need to be changed on a resume. And they're like, this is awesome. They're like, just keep this. This is awesome. This is exactly what you need. And he landed a role faster as well. So it's kind of not just the formatting, but it's, the experience as well. But when you have it done in the right way, people just get excited to promote you more, right? And people understand who you are. And our goal is just to make sure people aren't wasting their time and they can help their families. His wife was worried about it. She's like, well, you're spending money on this branding, but we don't have a job. And, our goal is, hey, make sure the family's happy.
Yeah.
And that it's working out for them.
Perfect.
So.
Yeah. Like you're a big volleyball player, right? Like somebody was applying to be on your volleyball team.
Mm-hmm.
There would be certain keywords and certain tournaments won and all of that you would immediately, without knowing the person, put them in the maybe pile, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And obviously nobody's going to kind of poo-poo the fact that networking's still probably paramount.
Yeah.
You got to know a lot of people. But if you live in Oklahoma City and you want a job in Dallas, you probably don't know people.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to rely solely on the resume and the LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to either get you in the pile of interviews or the trash can.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even, I'll be completely honest. We're a resume company, but I mean, networking is going to get you 80% of the way there.
Yeah.
We know that. But what I always say is, that's going to get you 80% of the way there. But then everybody else also knows somebody, or they don't know somebody. But if they know that they want you before you go into the interview, it just changes the whole narrative. It changes how you react to their questions, and they're trying to figure out how they can bring you on, right? I mean, if I said I won 3 national championships, I haven't. That's just a total random example, so don't take that the wrong way. But if I said I won that and I wanted to be on your volleyball team, right? You'd be like, okay, well, how am I going to get him to actually commit to be on my team? And that's the goal.
Yeah. LinkedIn profile optimization for your clients, that would entail what?
Yeah, so it's really buffing out the entire LinkedIn profile, right? I mean, we don't do headshots, but we'll say, hey, this looks pretty old, right? Maybe go get an updated headshot. We'll suggest, what background photos to do, but then we're really focused on the content. LinkedIn's kind of weird. You can't just go Control B, and bold things.
Yeah.
You kind of got to use some coding or another website, another company to make sure that things really look nice. You're using different fonts. And it's just surprising how much that helps. So we take care of that with some clients. They want us to just do it all. So they give us a temporary password and we'll just buff everything out for them. And then we'll just say, hey, it's done. And then they'll just change their info and they go back in. With others, we just send it to them and then they'll just copy and paste into their profile.
Oh, nice.
And so it's really just trying to make sure we're saving them time. And then with a lot of our clients, they want us to go post for them, right? And so they'll say, hey, I've got this great experience. I just don't have the time. I don't know how to frame it, right? So we'll get them in contact with one of our writers. And then we'll really brainstorm with them, or we'll just tell them, hey, focus on this right now. Here's something, copy and paste this in and post it. And so we do, 1 to 3 posts a month or more for some clients and just make sure that they're covered because they've got a lot on their plate. They're great at promoting their company, not always the best at promoting themselves.
Oh, yeah. And then, a month or 2 later, somebody says, hey, you're posting some really good stuff on LinkedIn. And they say, yes, I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Nobody needs to know.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody reaches out to you, who are your clients? What is the onboarding like? And ultimately, how do you work with them through this process? Because if you do your job well, they can stay in the family, but you've done your job well and they've matriculated out, right?
Yeah. So really what we do is we want to make sure that they're not getting nickeled and dimed. So they're not, there's a lot of companies out there that, naturally you want your clients to keep paying, right?
Yeah.
With us, we actually offer unlimited updates and changes. Because once we have their story, it's going to be pretty quick and easy to update it for them. So it's a 2-week process. We actually get them in direct contact with one of our writers, and then they're going to be a coach and a catalyst for them. So they have a 30-minute kickoff call, and then our writers actually make the drafts for them. So they'll be like, hey, here's the first draft. Here's 5 or 10 minutes of questions. Please, take just a second when you got time. Sometimes it's 6 a.m. or, midnight, whatever their schedule looks like. And then we can adjust to their schedule and they'll respond and we'll go back on a few different drafts. And then once that's completed, we'll do that LinkedIn and bio in unison in about a week.
Okay.
Right. We'll crank everything out. And then, I have some clients, a founder and CEO of a company, he's looking for new positions. And, depending on the size of the company, we actually talked about this earlier as well. You make a lateral move, you go VP to VP, but it's in a larger company. So it is a step up.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you're going up to the C-suite. Maybe it's a little smaller of a company to get some experience.
Yeah.
And you need different resumes. And we just know that, you need customized resumes. I think he's the CEO of Korn Ferry had a blog post recently of saying, hey, you need a customized resume. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And so we do that for him. So we made 3 separate resumes for him. He sent them out. We got a VP that just landed a VP role in New York. And she needed a few different resumes. So we took care of it for her and got it buffed out. But that's kind of what the process looks like. And then, if they send friends our way, then we make sure to give them more subscription time and different things like that. So that we're always helping our clients out.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pain to do, but a lot easier with you guys. Cause when I would help with resumes, I'd say the same thing, right? Are you applying at Browning Arms Company or like Planned Parenthood?
Yeah.
You're going to need a different resume with different words and different things on there. It's common sense, but people don't want to do it. They're just like, no, this is my one resume. Like, no,
yeah,
not overly helpful.
It's not really a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Usually. I mean, I do say, because sometimes it'll take us a day, less than a day to update a resume. Sometimes, they need it in the next 2 hours because there's a deadline to submit it.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing, right? I mean, having a polished resume with a certified resume format is going to help. But if you can customize it, that's going to give you that extra 5% somebody else doesn't have to get you the position.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah. And it's just leveraging what you've got. Because I guess if you really drilled down, like if you were applying for a job and you happen to know that the person that was probably going to be in the interview was a big volleyball fan, you'd want to put that on your resume. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Something to stand out.
Other endeavors or whatever you call it at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oftentimes those are the ones like, okay, oh, you like to fly fish. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And you might be able to form a small friendship there, which gives you a little bit of an advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2 weeks it takes. And then ultimately there's a lot on the line for these folks, right? You've mentioned families and stress, and you guys want to do good by the client. But the hiring company, if they miss on, VP and executives, a lot of time wasted. And they have to start over and do it all again, like it just compounds. So I would assume the folks hiring also appreciate that these folks have gone through and taken some time to make sure they're a good fit as well.
Yeah, I would say it usually speeds up the process, kind of like what we said before of, hey, they've already got a resume. They don't have to send them to somebody else to get the resume done or give tweaks and pointers. And then the recruiter isn't just coaching the potential client, right? They're more of saying, okay, this is awesome. Let me send this out, or okay, hey, let's also send something over to this company. These guys are also looking. So it does speed up the process, and it should save the recruiter some time. So that's kind of one of our next steps, as well as, getting in more contact with, Hydrick and Struggles, Korn Ferry, these guys that, they're looking with so many different people and making sure that they know, hey, this resume that you just loved for this guy that you just placed as a CMO, we did that. That's send people our way. We'll give them a discount. We'll make sure they're taken care of so you can save some time.
Yeah. In good times and bad times, there's going to be layoffs. And over the years, Silicon Slopes has done very informal job fairs, right? You're basically making an announcement, giving the space for free, getting some pizza and Mountain Dew, coupling the folks that are hiring with those that have been laid off. The advantage for those that have been laid off to have been working with you already would be speed and a polished product, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Speed, a polished product. And, some people, like what we talked about, hopefully I'm not getting too repetitive here, but, if you're working on your own resume, you might be focusing on just the wrong thing. So getting that fresh pair of eyes and saying, okay, this is what a company like this is looking for, and saying, this is great experience, but it's just not related. Even though you put blood, sweat, and tears into it, it does not need to be on the resume, sadly. And this is what's actually going to help you get that role. That's what sets us apart there. But honestly, the goal as well is, there's a lot of people that, they haven't thought about it and then they get laid off. And our goal is, to be, one of our next steps is, in Utah and in all these different cities is being, an outplacement service for these companies. So the companies can come to us and say, hey, we're already working together, but we've got 50 people we laid off. Can you take care of them?
Yeah.
So that way their HR team can focus on their current employees and we can take care of them. So when they leave, they're set up for success.
Yeah.
And it leaves a great taste in their mouth from the company that they were just with. So it's not as bitter. It's, hey, these guys are setting me up for success and we're helping everybody out in the process.
Yeah. I like that. That is a great solution because it's, again, bad times or good times, it will happen.
Yeah.
You miss numbers too often, you're going to have to let folks go, and private equity comes in, guaranteed folks are going to go. But, there's plenty of people that have gone back to work for the same company 10 years later, right? Because it was handled well.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this would be a good solution for leaving in good graces rather than, man, I wish I could stomp on my desk.
Yeah. 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 That way they're not stealing computers when they're leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really nice gesture and ultimately would be a great business line for you guys, right?
Yeah. That's the goal, right? And just making sure we're doing it right. I mean, my wife, Malia, we talked about her a little bit, but she does so much for this. She really optimizes the processes there and make sure everything's in line, and we're 50-50 on this. And her and I talk about it all the time of just, that would be awesome. We'd be able to really kind of make a difference, especially for people around us or people we haven't even met. Because clients that I'm talking to, I'm texting them back and forth. I've never met them in person.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I just landed at this job. This is awesome. And then they're leaving us a great review or something, but then they're reaching back out for more advice, more help. And we just want to make sure that it's, people are getting what they're promised, I guess. There's a lot of people that do what we do that they'll send all of their clients to the Philippines, you know, for really cheaper labor. Nothing bad about that. Sometimes it's great quality, honestly. But, you know, if you're working with somebody that just wants a higher profit margin, sometimes you can feel that, and you're not trusting them as much, and you want the high quality. You want what you're promised, and that's what we're trying to do for them.
Yeah. And I get the impression that you guys do a great job at it, and everyone loves somebody that'll hold your hand and walk you through something, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason we don't. Most of us do our own plumbing and electrical work, right?
Yeah.
So a good service provider is invaluable and pays for themselves 10 times over. And it sounds like you guys are dialed in there. Well, thank you so much, Jesse. Congrats to you and Malia on this. I remember talking to her a little bit about it when you guys were going to make the jump, and it's really fun to see that you guys are on the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.